Hello, this is Marxist, and I'm going to be reviewing a demo of myself. Now, I also haven't really done a lot on metalworks on my channel, so I had wanted to do sort of a selfie review of a game on metalworks, and we had a pretty decent one for the playoffs. My team eventually loses. I'm going to ruin the drama for you right off the bat. And I don't really know what's happening for next season, but I'll preface it by saying that we weren't super prepared, and you're going to see some mistakes from myself as well as others, and I'm going to try not to dwell on that for over long. So we're just going to talk about what happens and go over that sort of stuff from the medic perspective in my case. And here we'll get started with the first mid-fight. I'm going to run Uber to the first mid. We're not a quick-fixing team because I think it's rather easy to counter a quick fix if you know that it's coming. And it's really, right now, using it's more of just a gimmick and hoping that the other team doesn't really know what to do. So basically what we've got me doing for mid is essentially just dangling me like bait and hoping that a soldier will jump into our scouts. Or Chris. And now we're just gonna meander out here and start to have a fight. And we're gonna make some mistakes and then back up. So we ended up getting 2 kills. We got their soldiers because the bait dangling worked, but the rest of it didn't so much. And we're gonna just end up having Uber here. And I'm telling Chris now, I don't want to give this up when we have Uber. At least just get the Uber out and then try to win a fight. Because this is on this map, it's pretty low ground. And now we've got sort of a front to get a fight going. Kermit gets a flank, which lets our pocket Frio get in, but now they're all dead, so that's basically the end unless a ton of kills come down. And I leave. And we're gonna see aggression from them here because we're obviously a bunch down. And I die along with everyone else, and that's the first round. It's not really the way you want to start a match off, but you know, things happen. We did what we wanted to with their soldiers on mid, but then things just didn't turn out for the rest of the fight because we were a little distended. So you're gonna see a lot of me hanging out inside of this house area because I tried pulling out on the mid on this map and it just never really worked for that opening phase. And the reason for that is on metalworks, the skybox is so high that a soldier can bomb onto you and there's really nothing that can stop him from doing that. So we have an Uber fight here, and unfortunately Sesko gets killed. And I'm pretty sure no, there's a scout down there as well, scout over here. So we're gonna have to give it up. Now we're just gonna try and reestablish ourselves and also push really because they don't have mid yet, so we're on equal respawns. We lose our pocket and a scout, so that's the end of that. Unless we get a trillion D kills, and we don't. So we're just gonna back it on up. Their med is down, so we know we have Uber advantage now. And they're probably not gonna want to fight us once we come out. Except for to make me pop. We go around the corner here. To avoid that, we know we killed their roamer there, so now we should be more or less okay.
Our control point is being captured.
and we'll be able to convert the Uber as long as I don't get popped. Yeah, and I got popped, and we lost our demo. So I just run away there and come back on up. We've got most of the kills that we need, really. That we're just gonna keep going, because it's only a scout and a soldier up.
Alert. The control point is being contested.
And now we're just gonna hang, because we can't really get into lobby because their team's still really thick in there. And I'm gonna back away from that door because I don't like being up there. And then my pocket has to go get ammo, which is unfortunate because no one's in the alley with us, so I can't really heal or help anyone else. And we end up just giving them the point without basically any fight because there were too many people away from the combo. But that happens. So just pointing some things out. And also kind of trying to go over some of my thinking on this map, since I haven't done a guide video for it. And the map may or may not continue to be played. I'm not a particular fan of it. So we almost get a scout pick, but he has to go back and get healed. And we're eventually going to have to try to figure out a way to push. The first way, the way we approached pushing generally was we'd try to poke around for a little bit and see if anybody would just give themselves, and then we're going to try and then buff the flank and send them in, and then they would get aggressive and back up their flank or kill them. In this case, we're just pushing them back. And then we say, you know what, we're just going to go in, cycle the Uber, and then meet with our team over here. We end up losing our pocket in that, but we've got good traction over here, and our demo didn't get the call, so he dies too. And now we're on second capping, and they're going to attack us from the other side. So I just try and melee people, and don't have that much success at it, and then die. So what we could have done there was we needed to just stay together and engage a singular target, but the call, it happened so quick that they came back on us. That never really happened, and then we died. So we're gonna end up having equal Ubers here. I assumed that would be the case because Petra, who's Sparrow, had died and was going to be in the back spawn, so I figured he'd forward spawn, which would give us about equal Ubers, but we're actually building quite a bit faster. There's no way for me to know that, so if anything, we may even just shy on caution's side and assume they have advantage. We also tend not to build with a scout, and my thinking behind that is if you Boston Basher build with a scout, you have a scout that's not on the flank and is not buffed because he's building, and your pocket soldier isn't buffed. So you've got two players that are essentially kind of drawn out of what they would normally be doing, and that can create some pretty big weaknesses in your play if you haven't come up with a system to adjust to that. And we never really came up with a system to adjust to it. So we just built in the old way. And this point is really, really hard to push or do stuff with. And then I assume that soldier is going to kill me as soon as I saw that he got pushed to the right when I dodged to the right. And so we get forced. That's not good. Now we have to sort of rely on our ability to stalemate second. And Frio gets the pop out. Now we're just going to back away. And we lose both scouts, which is unfortunate. So we're pulling all the way back. And I see that no one's with me because only Chris is alive. And that's going to be the second round that we lose. Essentially what happened there was there were players who were too close to the Uber. The demo and I bailed out, but the scouts were too deep in to get out in time. And we lost the round. Yeah, it was like Kermit just did the big double jump I was talking about. When you do that, it's really hard for them to effectively stop you until you hit the ground. And so we get a good mid-win here. We win by a pick, essentially, and we're chasing their med and group as they attempt to escape. I hang up there at the corner because you never really know if there's going to be some kind of projectile coming at you. I like to hide in this little corner over here as well because it makes me feel safe. And they're going to start to push on us, and I'm going to pop now. And Chris does a pretty nice little surf, but our Uber is much better. Excuse me. And that's just going to be us holding second. And we're going to basically just have to build Uber and wait. Kermit had gone spy because of the idea that it wouldn't be expected, but he kind of gets caught. And at least now when we're falling back, there are players with me to get healed. But we lose Frio and I get flanked, and then that's that. So we're going to lose mid now as well because they have Uber, unless our players go huge. I'll try to get us something interesting to watch. There's a heavy, as you can see, from Kermit, and he is awaiting in the flank in the hopes that they will show up. And I'll eventually be respawned. So here I am. I have switched to crits. The reason I switched to crits here is I knew they were going to pop on us before we could really do anything, and there would be no real defense mounted of mid. And Kermit's dead, so we've got to pick on them, but it's not really anything too big. And we lose a scout. But we end up converting some decent kills. Mainly, we get rid of their demo. And now we're going to have this Kritzkrieg. And we're going to try and hit them with it as we're capping mid. They obviously, being intelligent, know that that's what we're going to try and do things to them. And it ends up being a pretty bad crits because Chris saw a good angle for the shot, but I eat that rocket at the start there, and it threw me back, so we disconnected and we didn't get a crits. One thing I will give Sal's Canal's combo, which is SS and Sparrow, is they were really, really good at kiting crits by backing off. And that soldier got skyboxed and I had no idea where he went, and then he just landed on my head. So again, the skybox on this map claims yet another victim. And we're just gonna stay crits because I don't particularly care which metagun to use in this case, because I know we're probably gonna end up pushing last. Unless some sort of disaster occurs. And I'm thinking we might have more success pushing with crits on last, because we did it a lot in scrims, and it worked well for us there. If we'd been more organized, we would have had like actual last pushing strats, but we never really reached that level of organization. So it was just like, do I run crits or Uber? Now, that Uber came out, so I pulled my overdose to get around this corner much quicker. And this crits is worrisome because there's really nobody with us. And I die. So Again, that was a case where Chris and I fell out, or me and someone else fell out, and nobody went the same way as us. And that one was particularly bad, being as I had crits. All I needed was like one person to be with me that wasn't the demo, and we could have easily dispatched that soldier by flashing the crits on any other class in the game besides the demo. And then we could have gone back to the crits with Chris, and things would have been great. But it was not to be. And when I get bombed when I'm critsing, in my mind, my overarching goal is to stay connected to the demo man no matter what. Because it's going to give him more crit stickies. So if I die, I die. It's just about max output of crits. So we have Uber, and we're going to have it in time. We have Frio take its little perch there. Gonna buff people. The way we held this was we'd have Kermit in the little under door area called drop down by most people. I figured with all that spam a bomb would be coming, so I hid. But we have Kermit in sort of the drop down area and both scouts in alley. And then that way we've got a pretty good mixture of forces. They try to force us here and then back up, and I tell Frio back up, because there are all these stickies. There's no way for me to push with him into that. And now we're just gonna chill, basically. I'm trying to get the flank buffed here because they just did a push-in play on us. And I know that their flank can't be that well organized. But instead, we just sort of sit around and let our demo get killed. We end up getting both their scouts though, and now we're in this really awkward spot of having to fight on this point. And we don't really have a good clue where people are, although their med does only have a few hit points. And there he goes down. So we get second for this. We already know that. And the main concern here is just keeping me from getting forced. We thought to stack here to deny some forwards, which we do manage to do in the case of the medic and demo. So we know this push is going to be easier, yet still. The demo's probably just now getting there. And they've already got people setting up for last, so my statement about the demo was primarily related to if you were actually going to come. The other thing is I hid back there in the alley for a bit because I figured there'd be a trap waiting for me of some type. And we're just gonna Uber in our demo and soldier here and hope that they don't manage to get Uber in the meantime. And I die to a quick fixed NG. So the push needed more people, and they weren't really in position to push with us, and that's why when you're gonna do a map, you should talk with your team about a basic strategy that you should just always use. Because in that case, and especially pretty much all season, my team never really had that, because nobody really had the mind to talk strategy. And as such, every time we go to push last, there's like a 15-second delay, and things are really disorganized. So you should have like a basic go-to strat that everybody knows and talks about. Again, I go crits with disadvantage, because I know they're probably going to pop on us, and they have quick fix. So I think to wait over there, and I died to a pipe, so well played, Fracture. So we kind of let them get a little deeper on me than I thought they would get.
Time has been added.
Nobody comes back for me. I really don't know where anyone is either. This is when I take those steps back. is me asking where everyone is. So we know they've got quick fix, so the emphasis here is to try and figure out which doorway would be their favorite and put 8 stickies on it, because it'll still kill the pocket. We assume that they're going to try to push flank, so we're going to stick it up a bit. We also know that running the quick fix means that their entire team is not buffed except for the combo. So if we can manage to find anything that's not the combo, we could easily kill it as long as we're in a group. But we don't manage to find it. See, even if you max buff a scout with your quick fix, they're gonna not have a buff. And there we go. So we get a scout pick, we've got our crits, and they've backed away. And this crits is gonna decimate them. The only thing worse for the quick fix than having to be crits on or into, sort of with a defensive quick fix, is trying to push into a Kritzkrieg with a quick fix. That punishes you extremely, because you're having to push through a tiny choke against things that do incredible amounts of damage to you. So we're just gonna try and build this quick fix up and go. They've got a couple utility classes that we'd like to pick off. But again, our last push is probably going to be thwarted by our lack of organization. We have a little play here we run with the heavy that I like to call the laser beams, but it's going to get screwed up and not work. So we start to peek out this right side door, but somebody says that it's stickied, so we go here. Chris gets thrown back by stickies, so that's a bad start to the crits already. And then he dies, and then our heavy dies. So they pretty much just got us there because we were under the impression that the right side that we wanted to go through was stickied, and it turned out that that was not the case. And then our demo got obliterated, and our heavy also likewise obliterated.
Time has been added.
So, and again, we thought they still had quick fix, so we gambled and popped because nobody had yet seen their medic. So we didn't know what kind of gun he was running. A real easy way to solve that problem is if you're a non-medic player and you're respawning, take a couple seconds, switch to spy, and pull out the medigun. And you'll be able to tell what kind of medigun they're using. But unfortunately, no one did that for me, and now I'm trapped in this box. And basically, I just have to hide there. There's no way for me to run from that soldier. And I just had to hope somebody would save me, but no one did. I think my comm at the time was, "I'm trapped in the box, help." But no one came for me. We'll be okay. So we're running crits. We're gonna have like 20% advantage. So far we're 1 for 3 on the crits, but traditionally throughout the season we've been pretty good with Kritzkrieg. So we tend to go to it when we're losing. Or at least I do. So we're going to try and push the flank here because I feel like we could get in easier. And Chris can see a lot more out here, so we just have to hope there's something here for him to hit. And he says that he sees them, and I pop, but they run away. So we're 1 for 4 on Kritz's. And now they're gonna Uber in on us, and we scatter the 4 wins. We do manage to kill their demo. And now we're just gonna cycle out to this right side again, because no one's really here. So I get these nice scout buffs, I meet my soldiers. We have the potential for a good repush, but it gets a little screwed up when I die. And then all that's left is a scout and a demo versus a soldier and a demo and a scout. So now we're essentially having like a on top of the point. I don't want to click off of myself because of how dreadfully long it would take to get back to myself. I'm gonna switch. Yeah, I switched guns. Kermit kind of confused me there. I thought he was gonna go alley. But we still hold mid, so they have a slight advantage, but it's not gonna matter. And then we just decide the Ubers are so low and we have mid, so we have a respawn advantage, that we should just go. And we're gonna lead with our soldiers, and then have the scout come in case they counter jump us. See how high the skybox is though? Like it's partially absurd. So I catch our soldier, and they get beaten back pretty heavily by that. Only 2 players alive. So we're gonna go in, and the respawns won't be here yet. And I go ahead and pop in the hopes that their Uber will come out. Their Uber is a bit better than ours, but we're able to scatter pretty well, and they still don't have a demo or a soldier, so we just easily cap. Note how we easily succeed in pushing last when it's that sort of situation, because we're all generally familiar with how to play TF2, and so those kinds of pushes work for us. I mean, they obviously ought to work for basically anyone, as long as you don't screw it up horribly. But a standard push, we just don't have the cohesion to do that. Now I'm just gonna ride this scout, heal anybody I really can. Emphasis on healing scouts. Note also how my little scooties always come back to me eventually. I'm just gonna come up with Sesco here because we know we've generally got this. And I get screwed over by that wall pretty hard, so that's unfortunate. And we know they're probably gonna have Uber, but we want to go in anyways, and we're gonna gamble that they don't yet have Uber. We lose the scout immediately, so I know we're just screwed. And I try to get out, but the soldier kind of pops me up with his first rocket, and I can't get away because I can't move.
Alert! The control point is being contested.
So now we're going to fight over second for no real particular reason and lose several players. And I'm just going to walk back to forward spawn because I don't really know where anyone is. And we lose a spy who was a desperate attempt to kill their medic.
Time has been added.
Yeah, I didn't want to move out from behind the little metal thing there because of the inherent risk of this Uber. We lose our demo, which means we're going to have a really hard time fighting it anyways, so we just get out, even though we get a kill or two. And they're going to continue to push on us a little, because general rule of thumb, Sesco asked for heals, and like we played a little ring around the rosy there. But they knew that since we didn't have a demo, they could push in on us. I just try to melee anything I can, and that's the half. I didn't get any. It wouldn't have mattered if I did, because I only had 73%. So even if I'd have had to get 2 Uber saws to get an Uber and win the game. So we're gonna be starting up the second half. We put on a little bit better showing in the second half. Still losing the game, but a little bit better. We had some chats during the halftime. So again, you see the same mid strat that we basically run the whole game. We lose our demo, and I just say, peace, Braz. Yeah. I take a peek out there to see if maybe we're gonna have someone be really dynamic and get a bunch of non-demo assisted kills. But we don't. And then my pocket and I have some miscommunications, and we have no idea where it is that we want to stand, even though our general purpose is to remove ourselves.
Alert. The control point has
So,
been contested.
I know as a general point of fact that when we've done this in the past, we can't get out of that door properly. I take the Uber off of Frio there, because I know Frio's not going to need it just to kill that demo. And try and make sure no one gets hurt by that scout. Or Kermit, rather.
Alert. Our control point is being captured.
And now we're going to try to get mid quickly before they manage to get Uber. We also know that their pocket is down, so we're just going to push. Because Soldier's normally not a hugely important class. Like, you can still function as a team without your soldiers. But on this map, Soldier is so important that if one is dead, then you're basically golden. They try to wrap us a little here, and we get scared. And then I have to force. Everybody forces. We lose our roamer. That's demo gets juggled into the air a bit. Sezco goes kind of ham and kills their pocket and a scout. And we sort of smell blood here, so we're going to go ahead and push and just see what we can do. I'm not going to get overly involved because it's not essential for me to come to.
Alert. The final control point is being contested.
We put a bunch of time on point, which is a great play from the scouts. And now we're just going to try and make stuff happen. And there won't be any Uber involved. And there we go, we get a second round. So again, like, we do things like that you learn through scrimming. We do that very well. The players on my team, all except for me and Frio, have played an invite. Kermit's been to LAN. So we know to do those things very well. But as far as like set piece last pushes, where they still have Uber and we do too, we were really bad at that because we never really took the time to discuss what we were going to do. So there was always somebody that was kind of not in the right spot. We see that Soldier take the bait of me, and we go and get that kill. Unfortunately, some of our more important players get cleaned up, and I'm just going to leave. Spades' job here is basically to try and kill the medic, but he doesn't get it done. He does get the Nemo, which is alright. But it's not the best.
Time has been
Again, we have Uber, or probably will have Uber, so we're going to try and not give up second for free. We've had it work once. We're 1 for 2 on those, I think. So, and they've got one down relative to us, so we're going to try and press in the flank. Generally on this map, the only way to really push is through this alley anyhow, and it's generally watched by a scout, and we know that they're down a scout, so we'll have an easier time getting in. We're pushed up really close to them, and we know they have Uber and that they got forced as well. That's why we cut into lobby there. I get forced, which isn't a big deal because we're cleaning up quite nicely.
alert. The control point is being captured.
Now we know that they don't have a demo or either soldier, so we're just going to push in and take second as well. They're going to have a slight advantage because they popped earlier than I did. So we're going to play this kind of tentatively once we get set up in lobby. And again, you can see a lot of disorganization here because we'd again not really discussed how we were going to hold lobby. So like we sort of just made it up as we went. And that is pretty tough to have it go right. I mean, now we're gonna probably just try and suicide in somebody and try to get a sniper. And that was Spades going in. So he's gonna come back as sniper spy, heavy, probably sniper if I remember right. They push out on us and we kill their pocket. I forced to try to save Frio, but everybody ran away. And so now we're not gonna get the demo pick I wanted, and we're at uber disadvantage. So now we have to try to do something because they're gonna push on us, so maybe. So the idea is try to get them to force. We kill 2 players. And I'm yelling go bottom right for a wraparound back cap and nobody comes. So now I'm not with anyone. And but we survive. We don't get the back cap. But we're just hanging out over here on the right now. We're gonna basher build because that soldier has gunboats on, so he can't really build. And that's good enough. 80% good enough. Don't need to build anymore. We've got our pocket here now. We know that we have uber advantage, so we're just gonna go ahead and go. I flashed Chris because most teams on this map, their generalized strat is to bomb the demo behind the Ubers. And now they've got Uber, so I'm just leaving. I'm aware that they have Uber. I don't want to be here for it when it happens. I miss the health pack. And we're going to be over here when the Uber comes. We're just going to try and force, and then I'm going to fall down and run away. I snagged this health pack here, and we're going to try and counter push from alley, but we lose our own demo. So we're back to mid, and we have a heavy. Reason we have a heavy is A, why not, and B, we know we're going to end up having to fight again, and our hope is to kind of just use the heavy to deter them from contesting, because the last time we sort of just pushed without Uber onto point 2, given they were down a soldier, but they really didn't effectively defend it, and I didn't get forced. So our strat is to like push in, get a couple kills, and bring the heavy and some other players to last.
Alert! The control point is being captured. Alert! The control point is being contested.
I pop that before the rocket hits me, so that I have health to do stuff. I don't manage to save our heavy, who had to go the hard way. And then in my efforts to save the heavy, our demo's left alone and dies. While Kermit has less than 100 health, I'm trying to stand in front of him, so that if that scout attacks, it'll die. So we know here we have uber advantage as long as we're careful.
The control point is being contested.
And no health packs are going to be around for me for a while. So I'm going to hide back here for a bit. We're going to bring the heavy still, just as a tool for pushing last.
Our control point is being captured.
Instead we just sort of give up second to them, and also our heavy. But we're really close to Uber, so we're gonna go ahead and go. I'm gonna bomb both soldiers onto that heavy and get on the point now. I flash Frio to keep him from dying to the heavy, and now I'm going for Uber saw kills over here on this side. And we all die, and I give up a saw, but we still get the point. So my thought there was to like start Uber sawing them to get them to turn around and not shoot at the point anymore. And that's essentially what they did. So we end up tying the game up. I probably could have just kept healing people and been okay, but I saw an opportunity to go for Uber saws and to sort of sack myself, so I went ahead and did it. Again, same mid strat. They give us a lot more room this time. So we're just chilling out down here. We lose 3 players. We're done fighting. We kind of have positioning on them, but our positioning consists of Kermit. And he's gonna die, so we're out. Our demo dies too, because we didn't get out fast enough. And I know they're chasing me. And we lose Sesko. Sesko was coming to save me, and he died for it. Which, you know, in the grand scheme of things, it's preferable that he die relative to me. We were out here to try to stop it, but we are unsuccessful in doing so. And this point's really stickied up now. We're gonna try and recap, just scaring them with our weird tactic. Now, you run a huge risk when you do something like that, because if 2 of your own players die, you're gonna leapfrog over second. So all that'll come of it is you cap second and then lose last, because they're gonna push back in on you and kill you. So we know we're in a really, really risky spot right now. Especially because they gave a scout for a soldier, essentially, and soldier is much more important on this map. They pop in, we run away a bit,
Our control point is being captured.
and then we're just gonna come back with the Uber. We don't really get anything out of it. We're just gonna end up trying to push. We know that this soldier's trapped behind, so we're just gonna clean him up. And now we're ready to push forward, but we end up losing Frio because they push in while that distraction is occurring. And they kind of win that fight, and then I get killed because everybody drops to the ground to chase a scout or something. And we finally get Sal. So, but they have the mid-based spawn advantage, so we're not going to be able to do a whole lot. We get a little bit of overextension there, and lose a scout. So we're going to have trouble now with holding this area if the other team decides to push. And it's a tie game, so they may not. But yeah, so we managed to convert 2 kills, but we're kind of trapped in this door now. And I'm just yelling, anybody please come out of the left door. But instead, everybody comes this way, and now we can't hold, and I'm gonna die. All we needed to have happen was for someone to come from the left side and get them to back off of that doorway so we could get in, and that never happened. Everybody just congregated at that door, and there was no way we could get out. So I see after the initial phase is over that no soldiers are going to come from the skybox and kill me. So then I come out, and then a soldier kills me. But it's not really a huge deal. Their medic survives. He's being chased by 2 players and killed. So we're gonna get a go at last. And I'm gonna go crits for it, because it was generally successful all the other times. I think, possibly. No, we switched to Uber, because of how bad our crits in the last have been in this particular game. And they're running a pretty tanked up D, so we're gonna have a lot of trouble with it because of the NG situation. It's a really tall order for an Uber to pop their Uber, kill the gun, and then kill their heavy. And they're running a sniper as well. So I can't hold the Uber, is what that essentially accomplishes. So we're gonna try and run a suicide, I imagine. No, we're just gonna Uber in Chris, and he's gonna kill the gun and then make them pop. So they pop, now we're leaving. And I get juggled by this demo over here and thrown back, and I was like, please attack, but nobody does, so I die. Horrible failure of a last push. Essentially what ought to have happened.
Alert.
Again, this would have happened if we'd ever discussed what to do, but essentially what you want to do there is we're gonna like Uber in, kill the gun, pop their Uber, get out, and then push down main out of the door to the right. And had when their demo peaked, had like a bunch of people run into him, we'd have killed their demo and whoever else was there. Instead, we stood in the back and just let me die.
Alert. The control point is being contested.
So that was, organizational problems were a major issue for our team, and I bear responsibility for that,
The control point is being captured.
as well as everyone else. So they're just gonna like push us out, and I get stuck against this wall, and all I say is, I'm dead to a wall. We hadn't really played the map that much, I personally haven't, and I more or less despise it. So I just trap myself against that wall, and we lose the game. So yeah, there's my selfie demo review. I hope that it gave you a little general idea of what to do for metalworks in your own games. I didn't really want to do a lot of selfie demo reviews during the season because we were still playing, and there was a chance, a team could see what we were doing, because I tried to explain it at least somewhat, and as seeing a team's medic, you're gonna know exactly what they do. So I didn't really want to do that. But now you'll probably see at least one or two come up. I wanted to do the metalworks first because it wasn't a bad game to watch, and I don't have any material up from metalworks, and there's a chance it'll stay in the rotation and people are going to want to know about it. I'll do a guide video for it if it's in ESEA next season, but in any case, I hope you found this to be enjoyable and helpful, hopefully, and I hope I didn't offend any of my current and former teammates.